Right.
And I think this kind of answers a couple of questions that we always want to ask. Is, we talked a little bit about your success and how you've achieved it. The next question is how it's affected you, and it sounds like your decision not to go big time in the comedy world has really affected you in a positive way.
It has, yeah, definitely. I mean, and I mean, there's all the things that come with it. I mean, we know that world has, some allure to certain sides of things. I have an addictive personality that I try to keep under control as much as possible. And as you can tell, my right now chocolate chip cookies are my addiction of choice.
We all have our addictions.
But yeah, I mean, definitely, I think that had I gone down that path, I could have quite easily, had I been successful, I could have ended up just like Belushi or John Candy or Chris Farley. And you hear the stories about those guys, and they came from similar backgrounds like I did, and some, I don't know how bad they wanted it or didn't want it, but for me, I just and this is something I've learned along the way, that you really need to determine what your own personal expectations are of yourself, and then I think the next step you need to do is determine which of those expectations are unreal expectations or expectations based on ego. And by that I mean not what you necessarily really want, but what it's an expectation that the world expects this out of me, or my wife expects this out of me, and I'm not talking about good things like my wife expects me to be faithful. That's an obvious, at least in my world.
Or to always mow the lawn or things like that.
Right. Yeah.
You may not want to do that, but it is expected of you, and it's something you should do. But I understand what you're saying. You should, when it comes to what you want to achieve in life, it really should be a matter of your own heart and your own desires, and not necessarily what you think other people want you to do.
Yeah.
Or want you to be.
Or what would make you the big man on campus. Because maybe you don't want to be the big man on campus.
Right.
And like for me, for example, the fame part of the thing that leads a lot of people from what it seems like, the famous and the whatnot, the only part about that I liked, like I said, was just that it opened doors to meet people.
To meet different.
Which was incredible.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the fame had no allure to me.
Sure.
But yet, for other people where that was a big thing for them and they wanted to be known, then I started to second guess myself. Like, maybe I should expect that out of me.
It's not what I really want, but should I?
Right. And where it's something that other people think that how could you not want that? How could it makes it tough, because at every turn, instead of people going, that's awesome, you're making it, you're doing it in comedy, it's, you quit, man, why
would you do that?
And some people you could explain it to, and some people you couldn't, but when it really got down to it, it's like, I didn't care. The person I was living my life for was me.
Right.
And for me, and for what I had chosen at some point in life, for whatever reason, I wanted to be around my family as they grew. I wanted to go skiing with them. I wanted to play baseball with them. I wanted to watch them grow. I didn't want to hear how the school play went again, right from some bar in the northeast corner of northern Nantucket.
You want your kids to know you.
Yeah. And then that was back to the expectations. I just had to I had to really regroup and see what my expectations were. They tell you some things that if you want something bad enough, you'll be willing to do anything to do it, right?
Right.
And a close friend of mine, he said something really interesting one time. We were talking about this, and I was kind of talking about how sometimes, even though I know I made the right choice, still, you little strapped for money, or you have to look at a different career, or you're not so happy, not doing what you may be doing. And if you had something that you could have possibly done that other people think that you were crazy for letting go, and even sometimes I think I was crazy. Why did I let that go? But it's always based around the things that I'm not judging my success off of. It was based off of money. It was based off of fame. It was based off being put in a position to be able to maybe be a part of something bigger or different, which isn't bad, but I wanted this thing first. I wanted my family first. And, if it has to be for 18 years while my kids grow up, and I got 3 of them, so it'll probably be 23 years by the time it's done. If I have to dedicate 23 years of my life to seeing that they get a good start, who knows, maybe I'll go back and...
That was your priority, basically.
Yeah. Once I've got that out of the way, I don't know what might the next step be, Maybe I'll have that to fall back on, that I know I can do that, and I'll be like, Rodney Dangerfield, who went back in his later years and became extremely successful.
Coming out of retirement.
That's right.
Dave Stitcher coming out of
I'll be
retirement.
looking to get my respect.
Yeah.
What
Good
the
luck with
respect
that.
Rodney couldn't get, I'll see if I can find
Yeah.
it.
You know how that goes.
Yeah.
But obviously, I know that you have a beautiful family, wonderful family, kids,
Thank you.
and so you've definitely reached that goal, and it's and as you've mentioned just now, it's really been a blessing in your life, and it's really helped you to achieve what you wanted to inside. Tell me just briefly how it's affected other people,
Well,
other than the fact that your kids were born and so they have a life.
right. Well, they would have been born somewhere. Sometimes they maybe think they might have been better off being born into a different home, but hey, they got mine, so there they are. And I mean, definitely, it's affected a lot of people's lives. Just by telling the story, I think sometimes you can see people thinking about, what did I choose? Did I really follow what was me? And that was what I was going to say before, and then I got kind of sidetracked. That'll happen with me easily, but a friend of mine, he had said, what he said was, obviously, that wasn't your passion, being a comedian. He's like, you would have followed it had it have been. He's like, but no, you followed what was even though career-wise, I haven't found a passion since then, but that wasn't a passion. It was just fun to get paid to make people laugh. And we got to see new cities all the time. And, but, it really made me realize that, yeah, I am following my passion.
Yes.
And I got to stop still letting other people's expectations or the societal expectations, the things that we're supposed to always choose the thing that we're the most talented at and that could bring the most money.
Right.
And then on the other hand, you hear the things that they say, if money didn't matter and, even if you were broke the rest of your life, what's the thing that you would want to do? I mean, realistically for me, ski.
Okay. Well, maybe there's a career there for you.
Yeah, I could have been a ski instructor, and I dabbled in that a little bit, but I did it for fun. When it became a job, it wasn't the same.
Well, and you run across people too. I mean, I've seen people that have had a definite talent in something, but their heart really wasn't in it.
Right.
And it never worked out for them because it just wasn't what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and it's a struggle sometimes because sometimes you look at the money you might have possibly made and you wonder, what your family could have done with that money. And did I let my family down by not being able to do both? But then it always comes back to, I know I wouldn't have done both.
Right.
And I probably wouldn't have had my family.
Realistic.
Yeah.
And you probably wouldn't have the relationship you have with them now if you hadn't done it.
Right. Yeah. And
things have a way of working out too. When you make the right choice and you follow your heart, you might always have some questions, but at least you made that right decision and you can see the effects of that decision right now. And I know your kids and they love you as a dad, and you're definitely a good father and a good husband, and so they've been blessed by the decision you've made.
Yeah, I'm gonna do these recordings more often with you. I'm gonna walk out of here feeling 9 feet tall.
That's right.
but yeah, no, and that's exactly it. I mean, you gotta judge off that. And and to finish out, you said how it's affected other people. It's a story to tell. And I can be sincere about it. And maybe if there's somebody that felt that they sold out or felt that they're overwhelmed by a choice, that maybe they'll have the ability. Again, back to what my dad said. Who said the fork has to go on the left?
Right.
Maybe it made sense at some point in life, but why does it now?
Yes.
Who said that you have to make this amount of money?
Right.
Maybe move somewhere and make less money and do what you want to do.
Right. And I think that's important because a lot of times you see people that have worked themselves into a career and they feel like they just can't stop. And, obviously we need to make money to take care of ourselves and families and things like that as well. But, it's never too late to do something that you have a passion for. And you should never use an excuse as, that I'm too successful in this one area of my life not to follow a passion.
Right. Yeah, and if you plan ahead, okay, so maybe you're stuck to it for the next 5 years till your kids are out of the house or till your wife's done with whatever she's doing or whatever it may be. But at some point, still, I mean, for me personally, I think how sad would it be to get to the end of this existence and to have known that you had a whole bunch of other things that you really would have rather done and that you could have done. And
Yes.
I'm not talking about the things that you shouldn't have done or that you might have never achieved.
Right.
I could never be a ballerina, no matter how hard I tried.
Was that your passion? Or
No, but I could have never been one had it have been.
Right.
It's not not a lot of ballerinas. I could have maybe played the bull in some sort of like Spanish opera or something like that.
There you go. Well, yeah.
They would have.
If that was your goal.
Es el dancer el toro. Here comes our dancing bull. And so,
yeah, you never know.
Exactly. I mean, I don't think many people want to see me in a tutu and some leotards, but the horns might take the
Right. Well, hopefully they focus on that.
Exactly. So yeah. So overall, gotta just judge it off the real things, and
Right.
I think our society's gotten too much on money and status, and you hear it, and I don't mean it tritely. I mean that
Yeah.
if that's the only indicator of success,
It's probably not the best indicator if it's the only indicator of success.
yeah,
And again, it's a matter of looking to your heart, looking to what your passion is, and trying to achieve that.
yeah, no, I agree. I think that's what it is.
Well, thanks so much, Dave. I really appreciate it. I really like how you brought out a different aspect of success, and that it's not just always making the big time, making the big money, but it's doing something that you have a passion for. And I have a feeling that when you do what is your passion, everything else seems to work out.
Yeah,
And I
it
think
does.
you're a great example of that. So I appreciate you taking the time to share that with us. Anything else? Any last comments?
No, I just appreciate the time and thank you for inviting me to do this, and hopefully that somebody else can find their success the same way and
Great.
find what makes them feel like it's all worth it.
Yes, very good story. Well, thanks so much. This is Scott Newberger from Lifecharge Consulting, and this is Dave Stitcher, professional comedian and a family man. And please, if you have any of your own successes that you'd like to share, feel free to post. Thanks.